is a very interesting piece of art and it's been carved out by Indians for India. Now, just like that, the all-new Volkswagen Taigun is mainly targeted towards India. Along with its sibling, the Kushaq, they aim to dethrone the Korean siblings of Creta and Seltos. Whether it will succeed, whether you should hold on to your buying decisions until September when the Taigun is officially launched, we'll get to all that in a while. But before that, you should Google the word Taigun and you'll come across some very interesting answers. You should please drop on the comments below. As you know, Kushaq means emperor and Taigun in Japanese means large crowd. Now, let me come straight to the point. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that now. And now it's time to say hello to the all-new Volkswagen Taigun. We are at this beautiful city of Udaipur at the first drive review of the all-new Taigun. This is the 1.5 litre turbo petrol manual transmission. We'll also be switching cars with the automatic gearbox, but that's later in the day. Right now, all I can say is my first impression with the manual transmission is quite good, because VW is known for keeping the fun part of the driving element at its core, at its DNA, and they have not disappointed us with the Taigun also. The gear shifting is very smooth. It's of course a very sleek gearbox, and they have this very nifty technology of when they switch off the two cylinders to save on fuel when you are cruising along the lower RPM mark, and when you're just about idle, and when you need that power, when you need that acceleration, all the four cylinders go full swing. So that's something that we'll test more in the day. Of course, it's smaller than Creta, smaller than Seltos, but it has the largest wheelbase in the segment, which means that the rear seat passengers have plenty of legroom. That's not a disappointing one. Here are three not so great things of the manual transmission. It doesn't come with a sunroof. It doesn't has an automatic start-stop button. It doesn't even have a complete digital cockpit. It is a very manual and basic, but it does have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless charging, and a very slick manual gearbox, which is very fun to drive. Things which are very good is that there is very minimal cabin noise. The driving position is very commanding, and you can see in front of you completely with just a touch of the bonnet in front of you. Basically means that you exactly know where it's ending and where it's going. Now, when I'm cruising at a lower speed, at lower revs, at lower RPMs, below 2000 mark, the two-cylinder mode is on, which means that the cylinder tech is actually working, which means the third cylinder is off, which means that it will be more fuel efficient. We cannot really put our body to that, but the cylinder tech is definitely working. The moment I do some instant acceleration, I think all cylinders go blasting and you get instant acceleration and that VW driving pleasure, which is what you need. In terms of driving, let's give 10 on 10 to Taigun, because it is a phenomenally well-placed car when it comes to driving. No questions about it. Now we have come to the pit stop. We should be switching over to the next car. I hope to drive the automatic transmission, which is what could be very more playful, but we'll find out in a while. Now this is the pit stop. All the folks are here and we have also reached. So we have swapped the cars. Now we are driving the automatic transmission 1.5 litre turbo petrol again, but the first impression is that the moment you float the pedal like this, you see there's this engine which is holding you back, there's this grunt in the engine, but if you're going to gradually accelerate, then it plays along very nicely. So that way the gearbox is very sleek, but if you're looking to really floor and hammer instantly, then you might not do that. But the best part is it has the digital cockpit, it has the auto stop button, it has the sunroof, and it also has the paddle shifter, which is what is going to make it very fun. Also gets the auto dimming mirror, and the layout, the dashboard, everything is almost the same. There is nothing really to differentiate it from the manual transmission. The seats again are manually adjusted, so there is no electronics in the seats. You've got to do it manually. I think the soft spot in the automatic transmission is the mid-rev, because the moment you cross the 2000 mark RPM, that's when the engine really opens up and you can really have a very exciting ride. And if you're using the manual paddle shifters, then it's all the more fun. The handbrakes also is very manual, in both the automatic transmission and manual, which is actually good because the electronic ones I never really get it, because the one in Creta you always tend to forget. This is very cool. Just plod along, has that clucky sound, and which is very childish and very practical in my sense of the term. Let's just step aside and look at the exteriors of the Taigun. We Indians like chrome. So there we have, Taigun has given us chrome because it's meant for India. So there's chrome here, there's chrome there. There is the skid plate also, which is chrome. Now the LED projectors looks very cool. In fact, if you ask me, the design looks very calm, very composed, just like a typical Volkswagen, which is a very nice silhouette. It looks kind of imposing. From the front, it might remind you of the Tiguan, but it is a Taigun. Moving to the side, from the side the Taigun looks quite interesting because the roof rails on the top give you that SUV kind of a feel, and there is this crease right in the middle partition which gives it that sportiness. Now the tire profile in the automatic transmission is a 17-inch tire profile, which gives it that tall boy kind of a look, and actually it accentuates well with the body structure. The manual transmission comes with a 16-inch tire profile, but the automatic has a 17-inch. If you ask me, the rear is more imposing, more designed better than the front. The light from one end to another one, with this, when you brake, it completely lights up, which is again very interesting, with the Volkswagen badging right in the center here, and the side lamps. Overall, from the rear, the Taigun looks very beautiful. It has a large wheelbase, which means that the rear seat is quite comfortable because there's ample of legroom here. There's a seat type charging ports here, which is the mini one. There's an AC vent here, and little storage tuck here, places to keep here. There are two lights here, and of course there's this armrest here. And the seats also are quite upright because it's sort of a mini bucket seats, because there's this curve here which holds you back quite strongly. All in all, I think the rear seat is quite good, quite on its place. So 8 on 10. Let's take a look at the boot space, because the Taigun has a very interesting boot space. In fact, there's ample room for 2 large suitcases, 1 small bag. The spare wheel is behind it. There's ample of storage area here, with this also here. It doesn't have an automatic door closure, even in the highest trim. So you have to live with that. Now Taigun is a fun car. If you're going to buy a Taigun, you have to have a lot of fun. So let's have some fun. It's time for verdict now. And to answer that perennial question which I popped at the beginning, whether you should hold on to a buying decision until September when the prices of the Taigun unveiled, the answer is yes, you should hold, because a lot depends on the pricing, and it will be around the Kushak mark, and that gives it a very formidable stance, because it is a car which in terms of dimensions smaller than Creta, but in no way it leaves you wanting, because even the rear legroom is very adequate, very comfortable car. It drives very planted, very fun car to drive, both the manual and the automatic. Manual more better, because of course we like manual cars. The automatic transmission comes with a red caliper, which basically means that Taigun is trying to attract, trying to target the fun part in you, and in that sense of the term, Taigun really is a fun car. So what price you would want the Taigun to be, please drop on the comments, and if you've not subscribed, do that now. Until the next one, take care.